Before we start today's episode, I want to catch up and pass Steelers talk and likes for the month of April. So do me a big favor today, and anytime you tune in to the Cleveland Browns Report, click that thumbs up button down below. Let's talk about Breece Hall potentially being traded to the Browns because at the NFL owners meeting, new Jets head coach, what's his face from Detroit, Aaron Glenn, thank you, talked about the possibility of the Jets reconfiguring their running back room. And I don't think Breece Hall likes this reconfiguration. Here's what Aaron Glenn said. I think mentally Hall is in a good place. But I would say that we have 3 running backs on this team that we're going to utilize as much as possible. That right there is going to fuel a lot of trade talk from several different parties. First, from Breece Hall. Here's a young back going into a contract year. And you want to know what he just heard? Less carries, less touches, less opportunities for yards, for touchdowns. And that means when he hits free agency next year, his resume will not look as good as a back who got 250 to 300 carries. So I don't think this bodes well for Breece Hall. And I think he could look at that and say, I want out. If you guys are not going to give me more than 200 carries like the last 2 seasons when healthy, I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere that wants to utilize me to the fullest, not put me in a 3-headed monster backfield. So from Breece Hall's standpoint, I could see him pushing for a trade. From the rest of the league standpoint, I mean, they just look at that right there and go, you really want to go 3 backs? You don't sound super jazzed up about that. I think we could take that off your hands a little bit. And then from the Jets standpoint, you look at what Breece Hall has done through 3 seasons so far for a moment, and he's yet to eclipse 1,000 yards rushing. So I could easily see, for the right offer, the Jets going, well, we can live without Breece Hall because we didn't even plan on making him the focal point of our ground game. We were just going to do a 3-headed monster approach. We can find a different running back for way less somewhere else in the draft and reset the clock a little bit and get a good draft pick for him. So I believe that those comments from Aaron Glenn are going to raise a lot of eyebrows across the league and across Breece Hall, and that could bring on some trade conversations. And this is where the Browns would enter the conversation because they need a running back in my eyes. They have been very quiet on the running back front, almost too quiet, right? Maybe they are waiting for Nick Chubb to come back after the draft and they want to get through the draft first, but I'm looking at the Browns draft picks right now, and all signs are pointing towards Travis Hunter at number 2. A lot of smoke around pick 33 being utilized for a quarterback in some way, shape, or form. And then they got to wait till pick 67 to get a running back at the soonest. And when you look at Dane Brugler's top running backs, at pick 67, Genty, Hampton, Johnson, Henderson, those 4 guys are all going to be gone. Judkins, Sampson, they could be there. But if the Browns don't love either one of those running backs, and they don't want to reach on a running back there because they like someone else more at a different position, and they'd rather have that best player available mentality for round 3 than forcing something at running back, and then they look in their own backyard and see Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong Jr., the only 2 backs on the roster right now, a trade could start to make a lot of sense for a team like Cleveland that has a lot of draft capital, because rolling it back with Jerome Ford as your RB1, I think is a bad idea. I do not think that Jerome Ford is cut out to be the Cleveland Browns starting running back for 17 games. I think they should make an upgrade, and they should make an investment into a running back this offseason. And it's not coming in free agency, and that's okay. It's a bad free agency class at running back, which means the draft would make the most sense here. And if you're not drafting one early on, you might decide to trade for one. And that's what I want to look at here, because we know Andrew Berry is a trade addict. Like, he goes to AA, and everyone talks about how they've been sober for 60 days, and Andrew Berry's like, I haven't made a trade for 3 weeks, and I've got the itches right now, so we're going to look at what a trade could look like in just a moment. But first, shout out to our sponsor today, Game Time. If you want to go to a Cavs game, a playoff game soon, or a Guardians game, Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Game Time is an awesome place to visit if you want to go watch a baseball game because those are things that can become a little bit spur of the moment. And it's fun to hop on Game Time, see what the prices are for the Guardians game that afternoon or that evening, pull the trigger, and I think you're going to have an awesome time at the game as long as it's not too cold. So make sure you check out Game Time today. They have so many great deals going on right now, including Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So here's my trade idea for Breece Hall in terms of compensation for what it would cost. I think it'd be a day 3 pick swap. Elijah Moore was a day 2 pick swap, but he was not going into the final year of a contract and a recent ACL injury as a running back. So I'm thinking the Browns give up their 4th round draft pick, and the Jets basically get to move up, 76 spots in the draft in exchange for Breece Hall. Might not be the worst thing in the world. You got a new coaching regime, new GM in New York. They may not have the same attachment to Hall that the previous regime did when they picked him. They look at a running back who's yet to get 1,000 yards, torn ACL as a rookie, and a team wants to give him an early pick in day 3 of the draft in a loaded RB draft class. If there's a running back that they like a lot, well, this could offer up some flexibility to reset the clock, go younger, go cheaper, go healthier, and still have, other picks to make other needs fulfilled. And for the Browns, I could think it makes a lot of sense. If you don't plan on going running back at 2 or at pick 33, if 67 gets there and you're like, all right, Quinshon Judkins, and he goes at 66, all right, damn it. Next time in round 3, we're getting Dylan Sampson. And if he goes 1 pick before you, now you go into day 3 of the draft, and the top 5, 6, 7 running backs are gone. And there's Breece Hall, who offers a very high ceiling. He just needs to get behind a better offensive line and get as far away from Nathaniel Hackett as possible in that horrible offense they had in New York. And Andrew Berry strikes me as someone who could look at the half-glass full side of an awesome running back from college who got off to a nice start in the NFL up until he tore his ACL. So would you do this trade? Not that big of an investment. It'd be a 1-year kind of tryout. If it doesn't work out, you're not going to bring it back, and you kind of lost yourself a 5th-round pick when you kind of balance a 4th and a 6th. You gave up a 5th for Kenny Pickett. Ask yourself, would you rather give up a 5th for Kenny Pickett or a 5th for Breece Hall? That's more or less what you're doing right here. And I'd rather have the Breece Hall option here. So I'm not really looking at that right there. So I think that Breece Hall could make a lot of sense here for the Browns as a potential trade target if they start to strike out on running backs a little bit. Now, not the wrench in this situation, but the last piece of the puzzle is what's going to happen with Nick Chubb. Because if the Browns plan on bringing him back, does trading for Breece Hall make a ton of sense to begin with? I don't think that Nick Chubb should get in the way of whatever you want to do at running back. If you want to re-sign him, it's going to be for a very cheap contract. Not going to be a huge dent on the cap hit. And it's going to be more of a locker room presence than on-field production presence. So if Breece Hall is catching your eye and you still want to bring back Chubb, my answer is do both. Roll with Chubb, Hall, Ford, and a rookie. Let Ford and a rookie battle it out for that last roster spot. But Chubb comes off a tough 2024 season. Played half the year, and fortunately for the first time in his career, he averaged less than 5 yards a carry. And we know what happened early in 2023. We don't need to relive that. And it sucks, but it is the reality here of, I don't think Nick Chubb is going to get back to that 2022 form. 2 years removed from the injury, probably a little bit better, but also 2 years older, and we know running backs don't age super well. So that kind of sums up what's going on the running back front and the Breece Hall trade rumor speculation coming out of the NFL owners meeting. We ready to pick a card? We got one more thing. All right, let's pick a card. Which card do you want to go with, Mr. Barkus?
Can I go with 8 of clubs?
Yep.
Is that on the table?
That's on the table.
Okay, cool.
You know what? I'm just going to go one step below you. 7 of clubs. Suck my dick. 7 of clubs. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh!
Bingo.
That's
Yes.
some good mojo going into New Orleans.
There we go. Shooter. Let's go. Man, that feels good. This is as close as I'll ever come to knowing what it feels like to be a powerful athlete. This is my bat flip. Let's go. It's depressing that is my height and my peak, but this really is it. It's this and rec league basketball at the JCC with Chat Sports. Here we go. All right. See you guys later. Winner right here. Who else is a winner? Let me know.